All right, this is Maureen Legas. We're going to talk today a little bit about the KWLS and branding your listings. Does everyone on the call know what the KWLS is? And if you have knowledge of this, have you used this to brand your listings? Can you just put a little note in the question box so I can see, how to best approach this? Okay. All right. It seems like most people have not. Okay. All right, so let's start. I'm going to start at the beginning. Let me just make sure we're good. Okay. If you have any questions during the course of this, type a question in the box, and then I will get to them periodically as we move through. So the KWLS, this is a little about me, Maureen Legas, KW approved trainer, E-Edge ambassador, MC Tech for a couple of market centers. I was an engineer. I've been a tech trainer for probably 25 years, so that's kind of what I do. What we're going to talk about today, what the KWLS is, how you can use this to brand your listings, some techniques for branding, and how to brand your photos. So that's what we're going to go through today. Okay, KWLS, it refers to the Keller Williams listing system. And what it does is it takes your listings and pushes them out on the internet to many sites, Trulia, Zillow, probably 35 or 40 sites that then push it out to other sites, so eventually maybe 300 websites from KW. If it gets pushed out, if your listing gets pushed out from KW, then it's your listings, your leads. KW has an agreement with some of these companies to make sure that you are the one that gets the leads from anyone who clicks on that listing. Sometimes, and that's where the branding comes in. We want to make sure that you're the one. I'll show you why a little bit later on in the presentation, why that might not always happen, and it's not a Keller Williams issue. It's how the listings are portrayed on these alternate websites. So your properties receive free international exposure on the web through kw.com, the market center websites, your e-agency site, and other listing partners. So it's going to be pushed out via these sources. Your listings will appear with a link back to your e-agency website, so you get the lead. So anyone who clicks that link will come back to your e-agency website. If they don't click that link, if they're confused about who the realtor is for that property, then you may not get the lead. And that's the part that this discussion today, this webinar is about, how to make sure that you are the one. You use the KWLS marketing flyer. I put that in my listing presentations, and I show the sellers what exactly we're able to do for them. So here is a picture of what that flyer looks like, and here are some of the sites that KW pushes out to. I hear now in the background our lawn guys have started, so if they come up against our window here, it'll get noisy for a bit. I apologize for that. Okay, so KW pushes out to Google, Yahoo, AOL, Trulia, Zillow, HotPads, all of these different sites where your listings will appear, and those sites themselves push out to others. So where do you find the KWLS? Well, when you're in My KW, up at the top under Technology is KWLS. That's how you find it. So when you click that, it's going to show you here some information about the KWLS, a little bit here of what I've already talked about, what it is, and it's going to allow you to have what's called a single point of entry. And this would appear after you click Enter or Edit Listings. And then you see a single point of entry. Now, I maintain the technology for 2 market centers, so they show up here for me. You would normally only have 1, and you would have that checked off if you want your listings to be pulled into the KWLS automatically from the MLS. Now, our market centers do that, so when we enter in the MLS, we don't have to come in and retype the listing. It would just come automatically from the MLS into the KWLS. Then all we have to do is go in and modify different pieces. All right, so let me see if anyone has any questions yet. Oh, Anya is asking about the flyer. Let me go back one. When you click Technology and KWLS, it'll bring you to this page, and where it says enter or edit listings, right below that it says KWLS flyer. And that's where you can get that flyer and print it off and or save it as a PDF. All right, the flyer is right here. Okay. All right. So when the single point of entry, and there's some schools of thought, there are some tech agents that don't do this. They don't want single point of entry. They don't want the data coming over from from MLS into the KWLS. I use it because it's simpler. It gets it there and allows me to edit it. Now, the reason some agents might not want it is they want to, some KW agents will take a listing and have the seller sign an agreement that the listing will not go in the system for a week. And they will go in and manually put their listing in the KWLS and brand it and get the KWLS to push it out everywhere before it's in the MLS and before other real estate companies pull it with their IDX agreement from the MLS. So they're going to get their name out there first before the IDX pushes it out to other competing brokerages sites. To me, that's too complicated. I just don't do it. I think this gets what I need done for me, but that's another school of thought that some people, prefer to follow. All right, so let me go back here for a minute, remind you. So KWLS technology, click KWLS, brings us here. We click edit or enter or edit listings. Now, if you enter a listing today, like if I put a listing in now into the MLS, it will not come to KWLS until the middle of the night. Once a day, KWLS goes in and it's counting, I believe it still works this way, counting photographs. And if it finds a property that's new or finds a property that's been there with a different photo count, it will update that. So that's a little bit of a trick there. So if you have a listing that you've changed, you want to add a photo to it so KWLS recognizes with 80,000 agents and millions of listings, that's how it figures out which ones to update. It's looking at the count, the photo count. All right, so you click Edit Listings, and that'll bring you into your KWLS system. The dashboard will look like this, and it'll show you initiated listings, submitted listings, accepted listings, and all the listings. Now, when you come in here, if you do not have the single point of entry, if your market center does not use that, there may be some that are initiated or submitted and not yet accepted because your brokerage has the option to automatically accept properties that are coming over with that single point of entry. So let me reverse here. Oops, there it is. Right here, when you sign into your, let me see if I can pull up my KWLS. So I'm going to go into KWLS. It's waiting. Okay. And then I'm going to click to edit or enter listings. There's the flyer, edit or enter listings. And here it shows my single point of entry for Bradenton is enabled, which means the properties are going to come from the MLS into my KWLS. Now, on the MCA side, on your Market Center Administrator side, there's also a switch they can turn on or off that says turn it on. That means the properties that come into the KWLS from the MLS automatically accept them. Change it from initiated to accepted automatically. Or they can have that switch turned off, and they would have to manually go in and approve every listing. And sometimes they do that because they want to make sure all of the listing documentation is submitted. So if you come into your KWLS and you see that some are not accepted, that means they have not yet been approved by the MCA. So you might want to check with your MCA and ask them if they have that turned on or off. It's their single point of entry. They have to turn it on or off to automatically approve anything that is pulled over from the MLS to the KWLS. All right, but mostly, I think most of the market centers have that turned on and they're accepted. Okay. So we come in, our listings are here, and we would click on the accepted, click on accepted, and it will show us all of the listings. Here's a couple of my listings. Those are the accepted listings. And we're going to click on the MLS number to edit that listing. And when we do that, the listing will open up. The first thing we're going to notice is the right up against the house with the lawn guys. The first thing we're going to notice is the expiration date is wrong, because that's one of the fields that does not get pulled over automatically from the MLS by ListHub. The single point of entry does not pull over expiration date. So you would want to come in here and change the expiration date. The other thing is at the bottom of the page, it'll say, is the description locked? You want to lock that description, because once we make these changes, we do not want the KWLS to pull the information over from the MLS and overwrite what we just did to brand. All right, so let me go back to the live system, and I'm going to show you here. I'm going to click on it, accepted, to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So here's a listing. Right here, it's going to say I changed the expiration date because it was expired. It just brings over an expired date. And then at the bottom, I have it set description locked equals yes. And you would edit it. To edit this listing, you would click edit, and that would give you the opportunity to change the expiration date and to set this, check the box to lock the description field. Okay, now does everybody so far, is everyone on board? You see what I'm doing so far? Any questions yet? Okay. All right. So let me go back to the presentation. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to change the expiration date, I'm going to change the lock. Now here's the problem that you have to, not problem, but here's just something you have to consider. Once you lock the description and you are telling the KWLS that you are going to maintain this listing, when you make changes, they're not going to come over. You're going to have to come over and make those changes yourself. So you want to make sure that you understand that when you're making changes here. But it's important to recognize that the changes have to be made in order for you to brand. You have to lock them so that they're not overwritten. But if you make any other changes to the description on your MLS record, then you have to come in and change it here. It's not going to override it. All right, so a question about where the lock is. When you come in to edit your listing, at the bottom you would click edit, and then right below your description field is a checkbox, and you want to lock it. That's where you lock the description field. Okay. All right, so the next thing you have to think about is the contact information for you. We're able, because this is KWLS, it's not MLS, we are not restricted on what we can put in there. So we're going to change the description, and the first, you know what, I'm going to show you one other thing. When I go to Trulia and I search for property, there are agents that pay to have leads from Trulia. And so if I click on a property, it looks like Cindy Greco, here she is. She the agent for this property. She is the agent for the property, and she must also pay for leads because she shows up here. However, that's not always the case. And let me come into Trulia here. This is my property on Trulia. And if you look here next to my property, it says Lynn Brock. It says official listing agent. I want to go in and change this because This looks like the official listing agent is Lynn Brock. It just has a different phone number. I don't know the difference. So you want to make sure that the agent that has a featured ad showing up next to you is not the agent they contact for your property. And that's the goal of what we're doing. All right. Let me just check and see if there's any other questions. Okay. All right, so let me go back to the PowerPoint here. So when you are in KWLS, you could put your name, you could put your phone number. See, I put official listing agent at the bottom. For additional information, call Maureen Legas, the Florida Gulf Coast Group at. I put my phone number. Make sure the box gets checked. And then you add any additional information that might be missing. When you're in the KWLS, not everything comes over. The school information doesn't come over. County doesn't come over, interior features, this stuff does not come over. So you have to add that, make this as full as possible so that when Google is looking at this listing compared to the others that were pushed out that do not have as much data, Google's going to say this one's more important. All right, so you're changing the expiration date. Oh, by the way, current price, do not change current price, just leave it blank, because if you change current price, it's not going to update the list price. So you want to leave that blank. And then you come down, you put official listing agent, capital letters, then you come down here and you put for more information call and put your phone number, put whatever you want in there, and that would show up on the listing. And then you click down here to save it. Every time you do anything, make sure to check the bottom for save. Next thing, so across the top, next thing would be images. You want to lock your photos so they don't get overwritten by the list hub, by the KWLS pulling down. You want to stop it from pulling down images. You can add up to 30 images, and you want to make sure the first image is branded. So that's the key here. Just like in this picture, I branded it, but I didn't brand it properly because my photo isn't here. And initially I thought they don't need my photo, but they do because they want to see that it's not the same person that's advertising next to my listing. Okay, so here is a picture prior to branding it. This is a new listing, and this is what it looks like prior to branding. Well, I'll go in and I'll change the branding to look like this. And this is the picture I upload as the first picture in the KWLS to make sure that my information is set up properly so that any consumer on Trulia, Zillow, and all those other websites know who that listing agent is. So I'm going to show you how to make your pictures look like this. Does anyone have any questions so far? Do you have a kind of an idea of what KWLS can do for you? Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back to my presentation here. So that's what it looks like after branding. So then when we take the branded photo, we want to put it in order first and make sure it's the first picture. So how do we brand it? What I do is I open up a Word document, and you might have a different way to do it. There's other ways. This is what I do. I change it to landscape. And then I go get my photo. So I go to my clients, I go to where I keep my photos. So, and I pick the photo that I want. And it doesn't have to be the front photo. It could be the $1 million shot, because KWLS doesn't care what you have, on there. So it could be, if it's a beautiful bay view or the Gulf of Mexico, that might be your shot. Now, does anyone not know how to use the snipping tool? Does everyone know what the snipping tool is on your computer, or some version of it if you're on a Mac? Okay. All right, so let me show you the snipping tool because I use that. If you have a PC, on a Mac you might have something different that would do the same thing. But on a PC, I'm going to go to All Programs, and then I'm going to go to Accessories. And in Accessories, there's something here called the snipping tool. And you can right-click and save it, pin it to your taskbar, pin it to your menu, wherever you want. Now, I've already pinned it to my taskbar, so it's down at the bottom of my screen, and I click Snipping Tool, and it's going to gray out the whole screen, and it's going to give me a little tool. And I am going to click at the top of my picture and drag it down, and I'm going to save this section of my picture, and it's going to open it in the snip, and I'm going to right click and copy it. I'm going to go back to my Word document and paste it, and there's my picture. All right, so that's my starting point, and this is how I'm branding the pictures. Okay. All right, so if you do not have a snipping tool on your PC, you might not have the right, the version of operating system that has the snipping tool. You can search for a snipping tool. You can use, there's a button on your computer, print screen, so you could do that and take it and crop it. So there's different ways, and then on the Mac there's other tools, different ways for you to just grab that picture. And then you place it, I just place it in a Word document. The next thing I do is I go to my insert at the top of the Word document, and I go to insert a shape, and I pick a square. And I start somewhere over here, and I drag this square across the page. And then you can move it wherever you want to move it. But I don't put it right at the bottom. I put it somewhere that it gets attention. And then I go up to Shape Fill, and I change the fill color to be something similar to what the house picture is. So I pick a pink in this case, and I change the outline to no outline. And then I go back to the fill, and there's a gradient feature that's called transparency. And I change the transparency so you can still see the house. And close it. So now I have a little border where I'm going to put stuff that's going to stand out from the rest. You can still see the house through it, and this is where I'm going to do my branding. So first I'm going to go find a picture. So you find your picture on the computer. Here's a picture. And I'm going to use my snipping tool again. I'm going to take my picture and copy it. Go back to my Word document and paste it, and then I've got to format this. Got to make it small enough. And I'm going to tell the picture that I want it to be in front of my text, so I can roll it on top here. So I put my picture here. And you can outline your picture if you want. You can click Format Your Picture, and you can make it, however you want to make it on the outline options that you have. So you pick a format. And then the next thing I do, now I want to put something about me. I want to tell them who I am. So now I'm going to click Insert again. I'm going to put a text box. I'm going to draw a text box right in the middle. And now I'm going to put official listing agent. And I'm going to make sure, I don't like it to skip lines, so I change it to no spaces so it doesn't skip. So when I hit this, it goes right to the next line. I put my name. Whoops. I put the company. I put my phone number, and maybe your website. And then I don't need all this room. I'm going to make it smaller. I might want it here. I'm going to click on, I want official listing agent to be big, so I might make that 16. And I want my phone number to be big, so I want to make that 16. And the rest of it I can make a little bigger so it's readable. I'm going to make it 14, and this will be 14. And then I'm going to center all this so it's in the middle. And then format this box. I don't want it to be white. I'm going to go back and put no fill on the box and no outline on the box. And I look at this and it's hard to read, so I might change the font. So you just play with this and however that you would like it. I might change the font, and I might make it bold. And so now it wraps around. I got to make it a little bit bigger so it's all in one spot. And move this down. Okay, so now that's readable. Now they can see who I am. I'm the official listing agent, and you can put this. You can space this out however you want. If it's more readable over here, or if you want to put a QR code, however you want to do it. It looks like I might be able to put this on this side and make it more readable because the driveway is there, so the letters could be readable, and put my picture over on this side next to where the agent picture. So once you have this, what I'm going to do is use the snipping tool again, and I'm going to make this all one picture because this is parts. This is my picture. It's an outline. It's this box. It's words. I'm going to snip this whole thing so I can create one image of the whole thing. And there it is. And then I'm going to copy this and go back to my Word document. Because I want to put a border. And I'm going to paste it as one piece now in my Word document. Okay. Anya's asking if I have a cheat sheet. I'm going to post this webinar. I'm recording it, and I will post these notes too that I have. So I'll post the notes, but I'll have the recorded webinar so you can go back, play it, pause it, try it, and it'll all be there. All right, so now I have the picture here. It's all one picture, and I'm going to format it. I want to put a little border around it. So do I want that border? I try to see what looks best. So I can have a smaller border. Well, I like the larger border. So I'm going to keep that. And make sure, see how this is. If I try to snip it with these little lines in from Word, it's going to show up. It's going to be yucky. So make sure you get rid of all of those different parts, when the editing pieces. And now I'm going to snip it one more time. It's my final product. And I'm going to go almost to the edge of the black because I want to make sure it's all, there's not any extra white edges. And I'm going to click and take this whole section, and now I'm going to save it as an image, and it might save it in their picture file. Now here's another trick which is important for Google. You don't want to save it as listing image or cover picture. You want to save it as keywords. So I'm going to save this as Terra, Golf, and Country. See, all my other pictures are labeled Country Club and Maureen Legis. Put my name of my group. Anything that would be a keyword search for Google. Gulf Coast Group, Home for Sale, Golf Community. Whatever it is that would be a keyword for that property, you save it. So that tags it as such when you are posting this on the internet. All right, so now we understand why we need to do this. We have a picture that's branded, and we're able to go back to the KWLS and add that branded photo. So you're going to upload it, and you're going to make sure it's photo number 1 so it shows up at the top of let me see where I am here. Let's see if I can search. Now I just made the change to this listing. I just listed it yesterday. I made the change. I'm going to see if I can find it and see if it already added that. It takes a few minutes to get that added. I just added it to. See, it's still not there yet. So, well, where is it? $58.11. So it still doesn't have the branded image yet. And it doesn't have my keywords yet. So I just made that change. Another property that does, I showed you, let me go back here and see if I can. This one would have that. I want to add my picture to it though. Has that and has official listing And then if I show more, it has my contact information. It all shows up. And then at the bottom of the listing, that's where the consumers would have to type in to get to you. That's Keller Williams has a push there. But a consumer might not understand that, might think this is the listing agent, so that's why you want to brand this. Okay, now let me show you how this looks when you're in the KWLS. So I've made these changes. Go back here. And I'm going to go to Images. And I want to check the box at the top that locks my photos, and that'll allow me to upload more. You want to upload 30 photos. And then I added the photo. I clicked here to add, browse, and then upload the photo. And then I changed it because it came in at photo 26. I changed that to 1, and I changed the first one to photo 26. And I still have to add other photos, but I was putting this in for this training class. So now I have that one as the main image, and it'll be pushed out to through KWLS to these sites tonight. Now the reason I left this other image below, even though it's the same one, is because I wanted to change the image count so KWLS would see that there were changes and would update this particular listing. Okay, everybody okay so far? We have a few other things that we do to brand our listings, but how are we with this? Everyone feel comfortable knowing how to do this? Okay. All right. So the next thing, so we go across the top in KWLS, we worked on the listing details, the images, you can add some open houses. The next thing, virtual tours. You would add your virtual tour. Here's the one that automatically gets set up by the system if you didn't have a tour. And when I have the photographer take pictures, it takes a day before I get the tour. So I added that separately, a virtual tour. This says null on this thing. I don't need that. I can remove it. I can have the actual virtual tour that the photographer gave me. Okay. And then listing links. So these are different links for that listing. If you have a property website, if you have you know, any kind of information about the community you want to link to, whatever it is, you could put it in here. I always put a property website in. So where do I get the property website? I go to my eEdge account. And so if you don't know where to find your eEdge website, but your listing should be populating there if it's set up, if you don't know how to find that, you would go in through My KW, my system's pretty slow. It's funny, I keep seeing these Bright House ads saying just $5 a month will increase you to 60 MIPS, and I'm thinking if you can get me to the 40 MIPS you promised me, that would be actually a good thing. So here under My Marketing, your eEdge website, and in your eEdge website, under your account, it'll tell you what the name of your eEdge website is. So that's if you don't know. Otherwise, you go to your eEdge website, and then your featured listings are here. If it doesn't pop up, you click all your featured listings, and then you find the one that you want, and you click that one, and then you take the link from the URL from the address bar, and then you go back to your KWLS and you plug it in. And then you put here property website, and then any other links you might have. I wouldn't do a lot of links to take them off your website. I would just put links on your website. You might find some other links on this page that you might bring them to, like if you have Market Insider, you can bring them to that page about this zip code 34203. So I'm going to click to Market Insider, 34203 search, and then I take that link, go back here, and let me get rid of this, and I put that link here, and I put market trends and sales data, and I add that one. It's another link, but it keeps them on my website. So those are some listing link options you can have. Documents, I don't really add documents. I do use some marketing tools, but really that's it now. What we have done is create a branded listing that'll be pushed out into the KWLS. All right, so that's really it. Does anyone have any questions? Is everyone good? Is there some other part of it that you've heard that we didn't cover that you have questions about? And do you feel, comfortable with how this would work? Yes. Okay, the recording. So this, sometimes it takes a while. It depends on GoToWebinar to get the recording. What I usually do is I post it, and I'll show you guys where. I send it over to the different market centers, and it's posted in the intranet. So right here, Market Center intranet. It's thinking, I don't know if it's me or KW today. And in the intranet, under Market Center, I believe, let me see, looking for documents. Under documents, so Market Center and documents, gosh, and then it would say the Market Center name and training documents, Market Center training, one of these places, I think my Market Center in training. And then the webinars will look like this. They'll have like a little mouse on top of the world, intranet. It would be a YouTube webinar. So that's where they would be posted. All right. Okay, if no more questions, then I'll get this webinar recording started, get that going over to everybody. Appreciate you hanging out with me. And there was another webinar I missed, I'm sorry, the last couple of weeks. I didn't get that uploaded yet, but I will. I'll get that to everybody who signed up. I think it was Twitter and maybe LinkedIn. So I'll get that stuff going over to everybody too. All right, thanks very much. Have a good day.